Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at how to water your orchids. It's obviously going to be different if you have a greenhouse environment and you have all the hoses and stuff all set up, and you could spray water everywhere and just make a great big mess. But obviously a lot of us grow orchids in the house, and we can't afford to make a huge mess everywhere. So I'll show you how I water my orchids, and I've had huge success with them. So this is my method of doing it. You might find a better way. Everybody has, once you get started in your orchid growing, they become like your children, and you get onto a regimen, and you can see, just like kids, you can see when they need to be fed, you can see when they need to get watered, so you'll mold your schedules around that. So this is how I do mine, and if you watched my my video on repotting both of these, I did two videos, one on Phalaenopsis and one on Oncidium. I put in some sphagnum moss down in the soil, and I use that as my indicator as to when it's time to give it a drink. The sphagnum moss should be pretty well dry to the touch. On the surface, underneath, the sphagnum moss should be a little bit more damp. But on the soil surface, once it becomes dry, that's when I will give it a drink. Again, use your own judgment, because it depends on what sort of media you're using as a soil. If you're using the fir bark alone, that will stay more moist longer, but in this case I'm using those terracotta hydroponic balls, so they will keep some moisture, but they will dry out faster than, let's say, the bark. So again, judgment calls. You want to make sure that they dry down between waterings. You don't want to have them soggy. You want to make sure that they're well watered when you water them, and then remove the water, and then let the moisture work for you. So anyway, I've got a watering can filled with, this is actually snow. It's wintertime here right now, and I went outside and I grabbed buckets of snow from the backyard where nobody touches. It's not going to have salt, it's not going to have any of that stuff in there. So, and I melted it down, and I've got a big Rubbermaid tote filled with melted snow water. So that's what I'm using right now. Distilled water is wonderful. If you live in the country, if you have a well that's not treated water, then that's perfect. I had fantastic success with using well water. But if you're in the city, orchids tend to not like all the chemicals that we use. So you can actually harm your plants by watering them with like a chlorinated water. I'm sure that you can use some of the water conditioners for like an aquarium, so that it's safe for fish. Pour some of that in, and it should make things okay. But I'm taking advantage of Mother Nature, and I'm collecting snow. In the summertime, I'll collect some rain. So what I've got here, this is it's a Schultz brand orchid food. It's 9/31/17. Is that what it is? 19/31/17. So this is a fairly strong fertilizer, and this is for promoting flowers, the high middle number. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put like a quarter strength. I'm barely going to put any fertilizer in this watering can, and I will fertilize every second watering. When I transplanted this and watered them in, I didn't use any fertilizer. Oh, I used a little bit in the, I'm lying, I used a little bit in with the balls as they were soaking. So I'm just going to stir it in here. You can even, if it's really dilute, you can fertilize with every watering. I like to do it every second watering. It cleans the soil of any of the salts if you fertilize every second watering. flushing it out with clean water every other time. So all I'm going to do is I've got my, let me just lift this out here. As you can see, I've got my, my pot inside, and then I've got my lovely pot cover. The Oncidium here has its pseudo bulbs that are kind of shriveling. You'll see this one's kind of shriveling, this one's kind of shriveling. This one is looking magnificent. It's so beautiful. I love how plump it is. So when they start to shrivel, that means that they're in need of some moisture. So I'm just going to take this. I've stirred up the fertilizer. I'm just going to pour it in. Try not to get water in the crown of the leaves. Could cause some rot. Okay, I'm filling it up just below the crown of the plant. So the as you could probably see in there, the water is making everything float. We're going to leave it in there for about 5, maybe 10 minutes. So I'm going to walk away and I'm going to do other things, and then we'll come back to it. And I'm going to do the same here with the Phalaenopsis orchid. I try to also hit some of the aerial roots that are coming off the top with water, because as you know, Phalaenopsis orchids will produce roots all the way up the stem. You want to water those roots until they turn green. They're usually like a dusty green or a steely gray green. Oops. Okay, so this one is also sitting in water. It's everything's floating. But we'll pause the video here and come back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll dump it out. I'll show you what we do. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, it's been 10, 15, 20 minutes since we put these in water. They've probably soaked up enough. What I normally do is I put them in the water and then I walk away and I do other things, maybe do some cleaning or do the dishes or I don't know, whatever comes to my mind, and then come back to it. I've even left them as long as a solid day. I think sometimes in the morning I see that they're really dry, and then I'll pop them in the water, and then I'll go to work, and I'll come back and I'll be like, oh crap, I left my orchid in the water all day, and I always fear that it's going to kill the plant, but always it comes through and it's just fine. So don't be alarmed if you leave it in there too long, just as long as you do remove them at some point. So I'm just I'm tipping it to the side just to make sure that there's no water left in the pot. It's pretty good. So now I'll just dump out the water that's in here. Normally I would be by the sink for this, but the sink is being used for other things at the moment. So I'm going to dump it into this this bowl. I'm just going to pop things back in, and now this plant is ready to go. And I didn't show you before, but the roots used to be a steely gray color, but now that I've watered it like I did, letting it soak, notice how the roots in there are a nice green color. They've soaked in the moisture. They're ready to go. They're ready to work now, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the root change color. So here's the Phalaenopsis. It's one that everybody grows. It's a wonderful choice. If you're just starting off, again, I'm just letting the water drain right out. This one will be a better representation of the color of the roots, just because they tend to have a lot more roots above the soil level. Again, just letting it drip, 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 drip. Okay. So in there, do you see how the roots are a nice green color? Just a beautiful, vibrant green. That's exactly what you want to see. You want to see, they're just lovely. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, there's a little baby root popping its head out. That's wonderful. Phalaenopsis, well, orchid in general, tend to create a lot of aerial roots. that's fine. You just need to remember to water them. A lot of times I'll just stick the plant in the sink and I'll just spray all over the place with water and make sure everything gets a drink. And also, if you get water in the crown, if you water from above, if you get water in the little the top of the plant, I take, as I throw the Kleenex box all over the place, I take a piece of Kleenex. It's very, very soft. I fold it into a little triangle like this, and then I just lightly dab right in the center, just like that. And the wicking action pulls all the moisture out, so you don't have to be worried about that little drop of water causing some crown rot. So that's all you need to do. Watering is just that simple. And like I said, every second watering, I will water with a nice fertilizer. Whatever you have is fine. Just tone it down a little bit for the quantity that you use. I usually do, like I said, about a quarter of what it says on the instructions, because I water more frequently with fertilizer than they ask. I think a lot of them say fertilize once a month. I like to do it, like I said, every second, maybe every third watering, because you kind of forget sometimes. And if you're in a rush, you don't necessarily want to go in and grab the fertilizer and deal with that. So anyway, good luck with your orchids, and it's just that simple. Don't let anybody tell you that they're difficult to grow. Of course, there's some species out there that are difficult to grow. They just need more humidity, or they need a higher light than we can provide. But there's so many out there in the garden center that are perfectly adjusted for the home environment. Phalaenopsis, Oncidium, Dendrobium is another common one. Cattleya is also a good one for the average home environment. Each one is used for needs a different light level, but as long as you can provide the correct light level, they're just so simple. Anyway, happy growing, everyone.